kit review is of the Ferrari Daytona Spyder. It is a 1/24 scale model of the Miami Vice Ferrari. And this is the finished model. This is a very nice model. You can see it's been finished very nicely. This is one that doesn't really look a lot like Ferrari, one of the earlier ones. But this is the Miami Vice edition. Let's have a look inside. This is an old model kit by the original Monogram. It's not a reboot. We've got a lot of parts here to go through. First thing to look at is our body. This is really old, it's dusty, it'll need to get cleaned. Other than that, it's fairly well molded. You can see the details there. There's Ferrari. Here we have our chassis with the wheel wells. Here's our engine with transmission and some steering. This is actually our axle, rear axle here. This is the hood. You can see it's got the hood liner already molded on. Here's our roof, if you wanted to add the roof. We have wheels. We have our fan, steering wheel, exhaust parts. Probably our steering there, steering linkage. This is for the rear. If you wanted to have the linen for the top down. Here's our cockpit, the central console molded. Seat, not terribly well molded. Lots of flashing, mold lines, and I need a lot of work for that. Here's our windshield. Still reasonably good, and the rear glass, as well as our rear lights. And looks like we're dropping some pieces here for our side lights there. There's exhaust radiator. These look like maybe the exhaust of the headers. Valve covers. Here are our tires, really stiff, but otherwise reasonably well molded. Dashboard with instrument cluster, some nice details there. Looks like part of our scoop underneath, and suspension parts. Here's our chrome. That's fairly nicely molded, but it's going to need to be repainted because they've molded it into the edges there. Well, maybe not. This is actually offset a little bit there. Here's our valve covers, air intake, front grille, and some other parts, including lights and so on. Here are the decals with the Miami Vice. We did get a plastic bag full of parts. Hopefully we'll have some missing glass lights in there. And sadly, no. There's another seat and steering and suspension parts. So here's the instructions. There are the colors needed. We start off with the wheels. There's front suspension going on, rear suspension. Then we build the engine. That's put onto the chassis. Next, the exhausts go on. Our drive shaft. Radiator, other engine parts going on. We start to build the cockpit with the dashboard. Seats go on. We put our glass in. Cockpit goes into the body. And then the bottom of the bumper. Parts going on there. So these actually are optional. These are not optional. Sadly, it looks like one of them's missing. And our rear glass going on for the lights, bumper, front bumper, and the chassis goes on. Our mirrors, and then optionals if you wanted to put the rear on, the convertible top, and then the hood. So all in all, fair amount of detail. Not terribly well molded, but it's an old kit by Monogram, and unfortunately I happen to be missing one of these light covers. That's disappointing.